A book wins the Nebula Award for Best Science Fiction or Fantasy Novel. Ooh, I should read it. It must be awesome. Not necessarily. Let's take a look at my top 10 Nebula Award nominees from what I've read. The Nebula Award has been given since 1966 for the best science fiction and fantasy novel. This award is described by some as similar to receiving an Emmy, and as I explored the process involved, I kind of agree. It fits. The award is given by the members of the Science Fiction and Fantasy Writers Association, the SFWA. This US based organization actually has members from all over the world, about 2,500 people. Any one of them may nominate a novel for that year's Nebula Award, and the 6 novels that receive the most nominations are then put forward for a vote by all the SFWA members. There are some really incredible books that have received those top level of nominations over the years. I took a look, scanning the list of nominees since 1966 to see how many of these have I read. It was embarrassing. Just 22. There's a lot of great award-winning books I've yet to touch. Consider, there have been 199 different authors nominated since 1966, and several of them have been nominated multiple times. Most who have been nominated many times have won, at least some of them. I saw the record is someone who's been nominated 5 times. No joy. Keep trying. But despite all of these books, I've only read 22. It does not guarantee that they, have been nominated, that now they are definitely going to be something I will want to read and enjoy. I'm confident some of those books wouldn't be my jam. Part of how I know that is the 22 books. Some of these weren't my thing. I tried them. I didn't necessarily like them. So it was easy to make a ranked list of my top 10 because the other 12, some of them, I don't even want to talk about. But all of my top 10 are worthy, are books that if you haven't read yet, I would strongly recommend you check them out. Now, when you think about these books that either were nominated or won the Nebula, they're all novels that fit certain categories. First of all, of course, they're fantasy or science fiction. They have to have been published in the United States and in English. They could have been published originally elsewhere and later published in the US, but they do have to have been published here. I say here, I'm in the US. Duh. And for the novel category, they have to be 40,000 words or greater. They have other categories, best novella, best short story, but I'm talking the best novel. So let's get to it. From bottom to top, my 10 are: number 10, Speaker for the Dead, Orson Scott Card, 1987. And this one wasn't just a nominee, this one is a winner. Number 9, A Night in the Lonesome October by Roger Zelazny. This was his last published novel before he passed away, and it was nominated in 1995. I read that one just last year. That was kind of fun, kind of quirky. Number 8, Flowers for Algernon by Daniel Keyes, 1967 winner, a co-winner that year actually for the Nebula Award. I really enjoy that one, but it's also one that moves you. I've mentioned it in other episodes. A very touching novel. Number 7, Orson Scott Card shows up again with Ender's Game. This actually came before Speaker for the Dead and was the winner of the 1986 Nebula. I probably don't have to say Nebula. I'm only talking about Nebula Awards. Duh, Jim. Come on, get with it. Number 6 on my list, working my way up, is Foundation's Edge by Isaac Asimov, nominated in 1983. Number 5, a book I just read, The Three-Body Problem by Sijin Liu. It was nominated in 2015. Number 4, A Clash of Kings from A Song of Ice and Fire by George R. Martin, nominated in 2000. Number 3, A Storm of Swords, also from A Song of Ice and Fire by George R. Martin, nominated in 2002. Number 2, broken record, A Game of Thrones by George R. Martin, the first book of A Song of Ice and Fire, nominated in 1998. None of those won. What? But my number one, of all the ones I've read, my favorite, still holding strong since 1966, the first Nebula Award winner, Dune by Frank Herbert. What a book. Still doesn't get toppled. Love it. Now, honestly, there are definitely some books nominated in the past few years that I do have on my TBR, things that I think are going to be awesome and would likely bump the bottom 5 from the list I just gave you. I can't be sure until I read them, but I'm getting there. Some of them I will read this year. So I'm going to just list the 5 that I look that were nominated over the last 10 years that when I read them, I think would probably make my top 10 list. In no particular order, I'm giving love here to Jade City by Fonda Lee, which Zach has read and thought was awesome. The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang, which again Zach has read and I haven't yet, but it looks great. A Memory Called Empire by Arkady Martine, that's sci-fi, and there's a sequel that was also nominated, but I'm not going to give him another number of these 5. Network Effect by Martha Wells. I'm really eager to read some Martha Wells here. And Piranesi by Susanna Clark. That one I'm taking a reach on. It looks really good. It's only her second book. The first one is something I'm going to read this year, Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell. And that looks really good, but there's this big gap, and now she's got another book, and they've both been highly acclaimed. So we'll see. We'll see if they really meet the standard that I hope they do. Let me know your thoughts on any of the books I've talked about here. Put them down in the comments below. And if you have other favorite books that you know are Nebula winners or nominees that didn't get any love from me today, share in the comments. Tell me what you think. Either I intentionally ignored them because I don't agree with you, or I just haven't read them yet, so I didn't say anything about them. Either way, I'll respond to your comment and let's engage. Thanks, everybody, for being here today. And thank you especially for those of you who are our Patreon supporters. I'll put them up here on the screen. We super appreciate your continued support. Thanks for watching, everybody, though. We'll talk to you next time.